What's happening, captives of YouTube, and welcome to Dan on Sports, channel about everybody's favorite topic, Dan. We're resuming our brief reviews of every team's offseason moves, and we've arrived out east. So let's talk about the AFC East, shall we? Drop it. So there was one team to take full advantage of New England's fall from grace, and surprisingly, it wasn't the Jets. The Bills caught a hot streak that took them to what I thought was going to be a big game. Normally all it takes is for a team to get hot at the right time and ride that wave to a championship parade. And it was true, but that team was the Bucs, not the Bills. Still, great year for Buffalo, but what would they do to follow up? The team is stacked, so what do you do to put them over the top? Pick up Mitchell Trubisky. But seriously, it was Emmanuel Sanders that was a good addition to an already explosive offense. A nice little piece to add. But honestly, there's not a ton the team needed to do outside of re-signing people, which they did, and strengthening their running back core, which they didn't. Re-signing Williams and Feliciano was important for the offensive line rotation. What's going on with the running backs? Singletary is talented, but underutilized. And Matt Breida had y'all fooled in fantasy football. Dude is hard to trust. They should have grabbed somebody from the draft. What did they grab from the draft? When you have an edge rusher named Basham, you gotta get him. That's a football name. Gregory Rousseau was another edge rusher who's a little less polished, but he can grow in Buffalo. Overall, the Bills didn't have to do a whole lot, and well, they didn't do a whole lot. The secondary still needs improvement, and the running back group isn't scaring anyone. So I'm mixed on them, but I still think they're in good shape to take the division again. The Dolphins are a very intriguing team. A couple of years ago, they were tanking for Tua, won too many games and fell out of that opportunity, still somehow landed him. Flores has proven to be a pretty good coach, and they were very competitive last year and just missed the playoffs. So how did they do in the offseason to build on that success? Pretty damn good, I'd say. But first, the L's. It's going to be a little less magical in Miami with Fitz gone. He's good to give you 3 really great games and 4 terrible games before being benched and traded or released every year. The fans will miss that. They lost linebackers Shaq Lawson and Kyle Van Noy as well. They lost their starting center Ted Karras, although none of these losses I see as catastrophic in catastrophic terms. They're still doing everything possible to allow Tua to succeed. What did they gain, you ask? Will Fuller joins Devontae Parker in them, and all of a sudden this wide receiving core has become pretty lethal. They picked up Jacoby Brissett, who gives you a solid potential starter if Tua falters. Justin Coleman will be immediate help in the secondary. Nardrick McKinney, who was part of the trade package that shipped Lawson out of town, will be coming back from a shoulder injury, so the jury is still out on him. I did mention earlier that the Dolphins' receiving core is lethal, didn't I? But wait, there's more. Did I forget to mention that they drafted Tua's favorite target in college, Jalen Waddle? You add him to this group, and Miami has arguably the best wideout group in the NFL. Oh, and tight end Hunter Long was drafted and should contribute to this potent attack as well. They also picked up edge rusher Jalen Phillips, who can help mitigate some of those personnel losses on the defensive end. They added Liam Eichenberg to the young offensive line, and now you have a group that may go through some growing pains, but they will be solid once they grow together. The Dolphins have a lot of faith in Tua and surrounded him with the necessary talent. Props have to go out to the front office because they did an excellent job of trying to build on the growth from last year. But they're still not going to usurp the Bills. Good job though. Just when you thought that the Pats were out, they pulled them back in. Now, I don't know who they are, but damn you. No team was busier with accumulating talent than the Patriots. I was getting more texts from ESPN than from my girlfriend. Patriots get this guy or trade for that guy. It was an endless flow of information. I was like in the matrix of sports. They did have some losses though. Julian Edelman, who was a Wes Welker reincarnation while Welker was still alive, is no longer in service for the Pats. Patrick Chung, who was a mainstay for the Patriots defense, is also gone. They just traded Sony Michel, the only Sony not high in demand at the moment. Pre-injury, he had so much potential, then fell completely from grace. The Pats did have a gain or two, just a few. Now you know the Pats love a good tight end, so they went out and got two. Jonnu Smith and Hunter Henry can give them their best 1-2 punch in that position since Gronk and that other guy whose name we won't speak of. But there's a really good Netflix documentary about him. They added Nelson Aguilar and Kendrick Bourne to the receiving corps, although typically Pats receivers are nothing to write home about unless they fit a certain, shall we say, archetype. They got Matt Judon on the edge, and they got defensive tackle Devon Gacho. Kyle Vanoy also joins a loaded defense. They were giving Cam Newton another chance, but is Cam really done so? Pats seem to think so. Right before recording this, they cut Cam, forcing me to have to update it. Damn you, Bill. They shrewdly drafted Mac Jones because, you know, Belichick has to always be the smartest guy in the room. Jones played so well in the preseason that Cam is now out of a job, and even worse, on Jerry Jones' radar. Either way, any QB move was going to be a fail when you're trying to replace an all-time great who still hasn't retired. The Pats also added to the defense by drafting edge rusher Ronnie Perkins and defensive tackle Christian Barmore. Overall, the Patriots have the makeup of a team that did not like missing the playoffs, especially with you-know-who winning another super big game. I still think the QB position is the biggest question mark, and that's only because Jones is a rookie. But other than that little thing, the squad is pretty lethal. And finally, we have the Jets, who much like the Jaguars, drafted a QB and just had to work on building talent around him. And just like the Jags, they did an okay job, I guess. Only difference is the Jags got a generational talent and the Jets got just a guy. Kind of like the other New Jersey team did. They had the pick of any QB other than Lawrence, and they went with Zach. A dude named Zach. Justin Fields was out there, just waiting to be gotten. But alas, he fell into a bear trap. Trey Lance was out there too, but Wilson is your guy, I guess. Now I know you have to make the move, but is Wilson really an upgrade from Sam Darnold? My gut, which was a lot bigger a year and a half ago, shout out to Keto, tells me that Darnold has a resurgence this year. More on that when I discuss the NFC South. They did also give Wilson a receiver in Elijah Moore. That should help round out the receiving core a little more. They drafted another Elijah with a different spelling in Vera Tucker, but they traded up for him. Possibly another example of loving a prospect just a bit too much. They added Corey Davis to strengthen a receiver group that definitely needed him. They got Tevin Coleman, who is another fool's gold type of player in fantasy football. Again, from personal experience. You'll always be part of a tandem. Great in real life football, not so much for your DFS. Carl Lawson would have helped the D-line, but that darn Achilles. And Jarrett Davis should help the defense as well, if he stays healthy. A ton of Jets moves were centered around risk-reward. A couple of years from now, we'll either call them geniuses or same old Jets. I'm leaning towards SOJ, but I've been wrong a few hundred times before, believe it or not. And that's your AFC East. How do you feel about these takes? Agree? Hate it? Think your team's shit don't stink only to find out that your sense of smell is compromised? Join me in the comments below. Bring it on. I want the smoke. Next up, we wrap up the AFC with the teams out west and Kansas City for some reason. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if you're feeling the content. Follow me on the requisite platforms. I'm really friendly, I swear. So until next time, you're dismissed. Peace.